Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics, live on China's television. I'm Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. Tonight, the Ibadan convention of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, get our attention. The drama, the intrigues, and the controversies is what I'm going to be bringing to you tonight. The party elected former Minister of Special Duties, Kabiru Turaki, as its new national chairman at a controversial national convention held in Ibadan, filled with a lot of drama and intrigues, where the party also expelled the likes of Nyesom Wike, Ayodele Fayose, Samuel Anyanwu, and 8 others for alleged anti-party activities. A former Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Kabiru Turaki, SAN, was elected as the national chairman of the PDP. Turaki emerged where delegates from 17 states across the country cast their ballots to choose their national officers. A former lawmaker representing Anambra Central at the National Assembly, Senator Benubi, says the former minister polled 1,516 votes.
Delegates 2,745. Void votes 43. Senator Yakubu Lado Damake 275 votes. Barrister Kabiru Tanimu Turaki 1,516 votes. Total votes cast 1,834. It is therefore clear that from the votes cast, Barrister Kabiru Tanimu Turaki has won the position of the national chairman of the PDP with a total vote of 1,560. Thank you.
Of course, before all of the election happened, let me take you back a little bit. And I'll take you to the moment where a lot of drama, a lot of people didn't see coming. Just before the election process started, the proceeding got underway. Yes, people have gathered across 17 states. Yes. But it was Chief Olabode George, a member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, who took to the podium. And unexpected or surprising to a lot of people, this was the motion that caused the stir and perhaps will leave the Ibadan Convention as one of the most dramatic convention of the People's Democratic Party. Take a listen to that motion as moved by Chief Olabode George.
Kamaldeen Adeyemi Ajibade ingloriously supported Wike and others to ensure that the 2025 National Convention did not hold. I, Chief Olabode George, hereby move that this convention should expel this person so mentioned above from the People's Democratic Party. I so move.
That was the motion. Immediately after that motion was moved is the governor, the chair of the PDP Governors Forum and the governor of Bauchi State, who affirmed the motion and had Governor Wike, Fayose, Senator Sam Anyanwu, and 8 others expelled from the PDP.
Motion raised ably by our elder statesman, citing our constitutional provisions as enumerated, that is, Chief Olabode George, and ably seconded by my chairman, Mrs. Adamu Bunga. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
That was what sealed the move to expel the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, the National Secretary of the PDP, Samuel Anyanwu, the legal advisor of the party, SAN Ajibade, Mr. Bature, the organizing secretary of the party, and some others were including the likes of Joe Turner, those who were in the first lawsuit, which had the PDP convention stalled because of what the court says is an internal controversies and lack of due process by the party. Of course, you can see Senator Mao Habua on that list equally. But that was how that happened. Immediately, we saw the governors of Plateau State and Adamawa State rebuffing, distancing themselves from the move of expelling those party leaders. And their own stand is that it will trigger more problems in the party. Rather, there should be more moves in unifying the party. But following the election of Kabiru Turaki SAN as the chairman of the party, that arena in Ibadan is now promising to live up to the expectations of party faithful and Nigerians at large.
From this moment on, we will ensure that in whatever we do, there is fairness, there is transparency, there is equity, and there is justice. Because he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. What you have done to us, the trust you've given us, means that you want us also to take it out to Nigerian people. And that we shall do. We are not under any illusion that the task that has been placed on us is a simple one. Our party is at crossroad now. But we are up to the task. We are up to the challenge.
That was the moment where he emerged as the PDP national chairman from that Ibadan controversial convention. But in all of these, there are rejections, there are reactions, and of course those who believe that a lot went wrong with the party. And some of those who are reacting are saying, where does the party go from here? Let's hear from a lawyer, especially those who are on the side of the convention in Ibadan. Anthony Ayilabo is a lawyer and a member of the People's Democratic Party. He's live for us here in our Abuja studio to give some insight into what perhaps those who are critics of that convention and those who are unhappy with the situation are not looking at. Thanks so much, Anthony, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
There are those who said that convention was illegal from the point of law. The party conducted an illegal convention.
Well, people will always say something. It's not unexpected. But ignorance plays a big part to what people say. Before that convention, there were 3 orders, judgments from 3 different concurrent courts who have the same level in the legal parlance. They have concurrent jurisdiction. So a state high court and a federal high court are at the same level. What usually plays out is last in time. And before the convention on Friday, there was a last.
So there's a principle of law.
Yes.
Which is called the last in time.
Yes. Well, not necessarily that it applies, but whoever is observing or who's mandated by that judgment takes whatever he gets last and says, okay, this is the last order of the courts, assuming that all the others have vitiated their concerns. And this court may have taken those concerns into consideration. But it was the last court that gave any judgment. And whoever that judgment was given against, for instance, that judgment was against the PDP and compelled the PDP to have its convention on the 15th and the 16th. So as per the legality of the convention, and as a lawyer, I can tell you that PDP was well within its rights to have that convention because it was being compelled by the courts. INEC were compelled by that same pronouncement of Justice Akintola on the State High Court in Oyo State. They were compelled to observe that convention, even though the Electoral Act say may, but the due notices had been served on INEC well in advance. They had enough notice of the 15th and the 16th of November. So I think, and I presume, that PDP was well in order to conduct its convention. And I'll say this, woe betide anybody who despises the survival of an opposition, because that person will eventually reap the benefits of that sin they are sowing.
All right. So let's take the issues one after the other.
Please go ahead.
Although the principle of last in time might not apply here, yes, the principle of last in time in law applies where there are conflicts between judgments or treaties or laws that are in conflict. But in this sense, there are those who will say there is a substantive judgment of a federal high court that will be said to have a jurisdiction in the matter of People's Democratic Party in its national convention. Does the state high court have jurisdiction to enter or sit on the matter of a national convention of a political party?
Now, this is where it's interesting, because I think the guy who went to court was also a contestant at the convention, and he's resident in,
that went to Oyo.
Yes, he is resident in Oyo State.
But can you go and take a matter?
You can take your party to court to compel
in the state high court. Does the state high court has jurisdiction on a party's national convention?
It's a tricky one, because there was it wasn't that it's the parties that matter when you look at whether they have jurisdiction. Can a state compel a federal, which is INEC? So the only issue here.
INEC was a party to that matter.
So
and
INEC,
the national body of the party is also.
So INEC didn't get any superior court order vitiating that order. So when a judge has made a pronouncement, that pronouncement is there. You obey it. The only way to upturn that pronouncement, whether it's illegal or legal or it doesn't make sense, is to go to a higher court. And I don't think anybody approached the higher court to vitiate that.
Do you even need to go to a higher court where there is an established position of the federal high court?
No, they are
agreed. Yes,
but
jurisdictions are different.
No, but you see, the pronouncement has been made.
But the fact remains that there was a court order that came after a judgment of the court. So again, in the hierarchy of the position of the law or of the court.
No, there's no. The federal high court is not superior.
The point I'm making is that can you put on the same level a court order and a judgment, a substantive judgment of court?
Now, let me say
that's the point. If the court
they are both pronouncements of the court,
but one is presumptive, one is substantive.
So you see, a pronouncement has been made. You can't walk back that pronouncement until you go to a higher court. Once that gavel hits,
But should the state high court now take up, that is not an appellate court, to the federal high court, take up the same matter?
If the court sees that the person coming to it will suffer an injury, and it has that duty to protect the interest of that person, the court will take that position. And besides, the court must have relied on superior court rulings, which the Supreme Court has maintained time after time, that look, we will not descend into the arena and interfere in the elective functions of a political party. And I assume that all the hurry-carry was to stop the convention by people who, I must say, I cannot understand where we are headed to. So we're at a time when the country needs someone to stand up. Let me give you something that points to why you need a responsible and an active opposition. in any country. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, only made 2 tweets or 3 tweets regarding what his intention was for Nigeria. And you see how the government has been reacting in the last couple of weeks. If you had a virile opposition, which the APC was in 2014, they held protests, they were able to associate themselves, they were able... I remember I had a meeting with the late SSA to the president at the time, and in 2014, he was seeking opinion on whether he should present to the president that they should stop the registration of APC. And I kicked against it vehemently. And I said to myself, and I said to him, sir, if we fight the opposition, tomorrow we may be opposition, and we may find ourselves in this particular position. You must always, as a duty of national interest, allow opposition to thrive. What you see here is nothing more than an egoistic and very, very, very machinated evil plot to stop PDP from having its convention. And I cannot understand. I cannot understand the reason.
Look at the problem. Let's look at the problem with the aim of putting perspective to how the party got here and perhaps what the court and its judgment was intended to do. The court, have you read the judgment of the Federal High Court, Justice Yomotos's judgment? Have you read it?
I have, and let me say something. Let me say something about, and I'm going to quote Chidi Odinkalu. You've heard him on your professor several times. He has gone to the inexplicable way cases related to the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, always end up in Justice Omosoto's court. A case was filed in Port Harcourt. It found its way to Abuja, in the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt. The case on the disciplinary capacity of the party and restraining it from applying that measure on Minister Nyesom Wike. Who delivered that judgment? Same Justice Omotosho. Look, as a practitioner of law, every day you put out a statement that let's wait for the courts. Nigerians tell you they have no faith in our judicial system. We must wake up one day and say, you know what? We have to find a way to sanitize this system. Because very soon, we will not have a country anymore.
Well, those who will say, if you don't have faith in one court, why approach another? So, and in what the people have described as a lack of understanding of procedure of law, how would you go from a Federal High Court instead of you to go to the appellate court? You now run to the State High Court. Those who will say, man,
so there was no running to the State High Court. Here's what I presume happened. I'm not in the know of the judicial antecedents and how each person went to court. But I'm going to give you a presumptive assumption here. The young man had seen the signs that these people were not about stopping. So if these guys had legitimate interests, some of us would not come here to speak. But what you have seen is that there is an intent to destroy the party. There was every intent to do it. People, the BOT set up a reconciliation committee 2 weeks ago when the heat was up and said, you know what, guys, you guys in the BOT, go and resolve this issue. When they approached the other side, do you know what their request was? That they will only back down if they agreed not to contest against President Tinubu. Who does that? How do you self-immolate your own political party that gave you everything you are? None of these men, none of them, and I say this with every sense of seriousness, none of them was anything before PDP intervened in their lives. And now you want to destroy that same party. But I tell you what, I don't even think the governor of Adamawa State or the governor of Plateau State saw what was coming yesterday. And it paints a larger picture for the whole world to see what has been happening in the PDP. How long it has taken PDP to get here. Chief Tommy Kimi is the chairman of the disciplinary committee of the PDP. Had sent a report months ago for the suspension of Samuel Anyanwu But these same governors, these same people within the NEC, continue to truncate that process until it became evident that the party had to take a suicide move to get these people out of the party.
What about the committee that has said that the party, that part of that committee report, which you didn't mention, states that the party should for a moment hold on the convention, think about a caretaker position of the party, because if it went into a national convention, it will meet a legal obstacle.
So,
but the party still went ahead.
So let me tell you, the party's convention is supreme. The party's convention can take a man and make it a woman as regards PDP.
But that party convention was not monitored by INEC.
So INEC, who told you INEC was not there?
I mean, you heard what Governor Fintiri said.
No, INEC was there.
But did you hear what Governor Fintiri said?
You see, let me
Who
say,
is the chair of
let
that
me say
convention?
something. Let me say something.
Did you hear what Anthony? Can you tell me what he said?
I heard what he said.
What did he say?
And let me tell you.
What did he say,
Let me
Anthony?
tell you something.
Don't
Let me tell you
dodge
about fifth column. And I'll get to what he said. So I'll get to what he said.
Yeah.
There were active fifth columnists.
Including Governor Fintiri.
Look, let me tell you. It's more, and you know, I see it in this coloration, where you know how people in a secret society all wear cloaks. You cannot see their faces, you cannot tell what they are doing. Until one day you come to public and you see all of them unmasking themselves. That's literally what happened yesterday. Even with Governor Adeleke that did not attend. I tell you, a lot of these people
and 19 other states that did not participate.
The 19 states that did not participate, I'll tell you Delta, I'll tell you Akwa Ibom, I'll tell you states that had become compromised.
The whole of the Southeast does not have of a Congress valid enough to be able to participate in a convention.
So let me tell you, these are the problems that have been foisted and festered in the party by these fifth columnists. They were not going anywhere. They have no... You see, again, you must look at the intention of these people. If they had good intentions, if they were about the sanctity and the growth of the party, some of us would cite them. So I have not been on your show. This is almost a year. I've taken time off to observe and see who in the party genuinely means well for the party. Let me say something here. I will give kudos to Ilya Damagun. Because I met him 2 weeks ago, and I said to him, I'm not really happy with the role you've played. And so it's almost everybody. And he told me, look, he gave me the analogy of a fly on a man's private, and that you don't use a hammer to hit it. That you have to be delicate. You have to manage these affairs to a state. And he assured me, and he said to me, he said, look, my one goal is to hand over. A lot of people would not want to give up this position. I'm being enticed. I'm being told that if I stay on and I can do the bidding of this people, a lot of things have been promised to me. But I'll tell you one thing. I want to hand over. I want the 4 years to be sacrosanct 4 years. I will hand over, and there's no problem with the party. These people who even presented you with that option, Sheung, these guys that presented that option, that report you are saying, it's not the same report as the disciplinary committee report. That was the reconciliation report by a former Senate president who were very disappointed in the role he has taken in the party. We expect people who have come up in the party and who the party has given a platform to be very interested in the survival of the party.
All right, give me a moment, Anthony. Let's go on a break. But when we come back, there are fundamentals to these issues. I've got Senator Samuel Anyanwu on an exclusive conversation with Sunday Politics on China's television, and he's reacting to what happened yesterday, a snippet of that. But the main interview, I will play tomorrow on the program, but I've got some minutes to play for you tonight, and I'll allow Anthony to react to some of it. We'll be right back after this break. Thank everyone for staying with us on the program. So we've been having a conversation with Barrister Anthony Ahile, about a member of the People's Democratic Party, on the fallout of the PDP convention in Ibadan. But for a moment, let's get some reactions. I had a sit down with it was said to have been expelled. In Ibadan. Senator Samuel Anyanwu, the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Well, this is a portion of the interview. The fuller version I'm going to be playing to you tomorrow on Politics. They're exclusive to us here on Channels Television. But just take a look at this conversation, a few questions from that interview. So we can refer to you as a suspended PDP National Secretary.
So I am the National Secretary of PDP. I am not suspended, and I have left anybody.
It appears there is a new leadership of the party now to be led by Turaki SAN, which you were not part of. And it does look like the party has moved forward, and they said yourself, Minister Wike, Governor Ayodele Fayoshe, George Turner, Okechukwu, and the rest of them are now, almost 15 of you have been suspended for anti-party activities. A motion was moved by Chief Bode George. The motion was moved and was forwarded at the National Convention in Ibadan.
Well, first of all, I was elected to spend 4 years in office. And my tenure will elapse midnight, 7th of December 2025. So I'm still substantive secretary of the party.
But what do you make of what happened in Ibadan?
For me, it's just a jamboree. Well, you remember that on Friday, the governor of Oyo State commissioned a gigantic motor park, which is commissioned and paid for Oyo State. So he invited people to come and join in that commission. So when I saw the just commissioning of the park project, which he did, and then whatever conversion they made out of it is not my business. As a matter of fact, there wasn't a convention.
What do you mean by that?
Now, of course, if there were any convention, as National Secretary of the party, I should be able to communicate to INEC within 21 days that we are going to go for a convention.
Well, you were at the NEC meeting where this convention dates, the different committees, Reconciliation Committee, the National Convention Committee to be headed by Adamawa Governor Amadou Fintiri. You were there. You convened the NEC meeting, didn't you?
If there was yes, there was a NEC meeting. Was a letter for the convention communicated to INEC. The answer is no. And why is the reason for not doing that? The reason is that because 16 states, I'm the National Secretary of this party for crying out loud. 16 states have never done their congresses. The entire Southeast never had their congresses. So as we speak, there is no Southeast caucus of the party, the entire caucus of the party, the whole of Southeast. There is no ESCO in Anambra, Ebonyi, and so other places. And even the ones that were done earlier have not been communicated to INEC. So all those people that saw ESCO in the party. And that's why you saw yesterday, on the first day, was a jamboree. When you were mentioning on the figure, they had 17 states. I was laughing. So out of 36 states, including FCT, 17 states, but they would attend such a convention. Is that an all-inclusive convention? The constitutional part is very clear. When I had somebody yesterday at the podium when they were celebrating, doing the jamboree dancing and all that, saying that we must obey the constitution of the party, and I laughed. The same Bode George who came out to say he has expelled people in the jamboree party was the person that went and dissolved an ESCO of Lagos State. The tenure is still running till March next year because he wants to produce his own chairman and secretary of the party. And we are still a fairly father of the party. This is very funny. Very funny. And besides, we have a court judgment. You had heard several times the acting national chairman, Honorable Roman Mohammed, in his statement that this is a law-abiding organization. We believe in the rule of law. And for that reason, we are going to obey the court judgment. Don't forget that these people have also appealed the judgment at the appeal courts. So now you went to Oyo State and procure an expired order. I can expect the order.
When you say procured?
Of course, it's Lagos State. You saw the petition that was written by the petitioners over against the judge.
Procurement means someone buys.
They don't procure it in Oyo State. That's my language. It was procured in all of
But you don't have evidence to the fact that it was procured.
Of course,
Is it because it wasn't in your favor?
Of course, there's no judgment.
So did you also procure the one that came in your favor?
There was no procurement.
There's a federal high court.
That was a full judgment. People were, we are defenders in that matters.
What exactly do you have against Damagum? Is it a personal issue?
Is my friend. But because of the incompetence which I have covered up for him, he handed over our party to Governor's Forum. If you ask the amongst members of the National Committee, as we speak, they will tell you that the problem of the party is Damagum.
Well, it does look like it's just a few of you, maybe the organizing secretary, the legal advisor, and yourself. The rest are with Damagum.
That's not correct. Those ones, let me be honest.
But they attended the end of the meeting, which you were absent from.
Those ones being controlled by Makinde.
And the rest of you are being controlled by Wike.
Don't forget, Wike. Wike is my friend. Let's forget about that. We knew ourselves way back when we were local government chairman. So we are very good friends, and I cannot just see my friendship with anybody because of politics. Just like
I working together to kill the PDP. Because that's
let me tell you the truth.
All of you are working to kill.
Let me tell you the truth.
To what extent?
Let me tell you the truth. No, if there's anybody that wants this party to leave, that to stand the test of time is Wike, and I can tell you that. I can beat my chest and say that. Don't forget too that when Wike, even though he did not lose that presidential primary, but when he was negotiated out, I supported the party. I stood by my party. I started the party. When we had this G5, I was not part of G5. I worked for the party. So how would Wike want me to kill the party? Don't forget I ran governorship under this platform. And if I had the intention to do so, it's not under the same platform. So why would I the party be killed? But the right thing must be done. The right thing must be done.
And which is going to be what?
The right thing is that we have to obey the rule of law. We have to obey the judgment of the courts. Don't forget that most of these governors, they couldn't go market it. If when they went to tribunal, if the Supreme Court had not given them that judgment, they wouldn't have remained as governors. Because the people obey the law. The opponents obey the law. The judgment. So it's an ego thing. What they saw is an ego. What they are seeing is an ego thing.
Makinde.
Yes, you know why? Because the part of the problem in at the end of Lissy was caused by him.
How?
I can tell you. How? He divided the end of Lissy. He tried to put those who are from the southwest to work with them, and those outside southwest. That's just the truth.
Because Wike and Makinde were very good friends. At what point did they? I mean, who would Makinde?
They are political friends. Of course, listen. Let me tell you, Makinde and Bala and myself picked form to run for governor in 2019, the same day. I won my primary before them. My own was taken away from me. I was given to Yedoha. And I didn't die. I moved on with my life. So they know that I know him very well. I have done something against him, but he should leave all this ego thing. Put the party together, unless he has an ulterior motive. Otherwise, from what I heard, he wants to run for president. If he wants to run for president, will he want the party to die? Will he kill a party? All I've expected from him is to move around to put the party together.
Has Makinde discussed his ambition with you?
It's all over now. It's all over.
He has never told you.
Of course, he has never told me. But it's all over the media, social media, even the platforms you see there. They say that's the truth.
But the big question here is, you have been expelled. How are you handling that?
Sheikh, I've just told you I've not been expelled. Who expelled me? What platform do they have to expel me?
The Governors Forum members.
And even beside that, even when they tried to do that, remember when they were forming this, sponsoring the then Judiciary Committee headed by Tommy Kinney, which is said that they have recommended for my suspension. It was not today. I went to court. It's a court judgment. It's a court order. Look at it here. So we can read it yourself. I can give you a copy. That nobody should ever contemplate suspending or expelling me from the party. It's an interlocutory judgment.
It's expired,
no? That's not because the matter is still on.
There's a lifetime.
No. The matter is still on. So, yes. This is not yes. Exactly.
All right, that's I was thinking a portion of my interview with Senator Samuel. You can check out the fuller interview which I'm going to be playing for you tomorrow on Politics Today. But let me allow Anthony to react to some of what Senator Anyanwu said.
You know, the first time I had, Senator Anyanwu is a friend, but the first time I had issues with him was when he went to contest as governor of Imo State. Then a group of young people met with him and said, "Sir, how is it possible that this man wants to be secretary, wants to be governorship candidate in Imo State? He should resign." I didn't know that they had altered the constitution during, I think, one amendment or so, and it was silent on you resigning your position. But that was not a basis for you to hold the party, strangle it, and say, "Let me go and contest and come back and become secretary." There are many infractions that he's committed. I know what it took for them to compel him to sign the notice for the convention. And it's sad that, again, I refer to these people as beneficiaries of the benevolence of PDP, who have now turned to assault and kill the party. And he's saying that if somebody wants that this is people that want the survival of the party. She will sample public opinion today. Immediately that story went out that these people have been expelled from the party. If you see the celebration across the country, if you see the messages people were sending me, that this is even too late, that people left it too late, people should have done this a long time ago. But I think that the party
The question is whether or not that expulsion is valid and stands.
You see, the convention of the party is the alpha and the omega of that party. And that is why
in the eye of the law, if that convention is actually valid. Because who transmits the communication, according to the constitution of your party, of the convention?
You see, that had been communicated to INEC. You see, when that suspension issue had come up.
Who has the right to do that?
The party.
No, the National Secretary.
Well, he had signed it. He had signed the notification to INEC. He had signed that notification. In fact, it was a precondition for not enforcing that suspension. It was a precondition of not enforcing that condition, that suspension that was the disciplinary court had rightly, at the time, Chief Ikimi had rightly said, suspend this man. How is it that a group of people want to play to the interest of one man to destroy the opposition? There's a comedian, Hausa Galanchi, that has taken this matter to the U.S. Congress and cited these individuals as people who are stifling democracy. So we can't keep using the courts to run our political parties. Look at the mood of the entire generality of PDP. Only a handful. And they are not even, you can count them on these fingers. You can count the names of the people who do not want the survival of PDP because of their selfish interest, because they are in this government and because they benefit from this government. So how do you mortgage the future of Nigerians for your own selfish benefit after you have benefited for years from the system?
All right, give me another time, because this time we're going to take a break and we'll be right back to conclude the conversation. Stay with us. Staying with us right here on the program. Well, there are more fundamental issues for the People's Democratic Party to think about. One of which is where does the party go from here after this expulsion? Those who are involved will say whatever happened in Ibadan is a charade and it can never hold water. And they're claiming that nothing or expulsion can be done because, in the first place, that convention should never hold. But you look at what Sule Lamido, if it is dismiss the first Federal High Court judgment, what about the court judgment that Sule Lamido secured? Should the party had continued or gone further? Because if you say the principle of last in time, Lamido's case was the last before the
Convention.
The convention.
It wasn't the last. The Oyo State High Court gave another judgment or gave another pronouncement on Friday. So that was the last in time. However, Sheun, Sule Lamido's case is a different case, and I'd like to, and I've given your producer the timetable. 4 months before now, and I want to mention specifically the director of organization of the PDP, Yemi Ademo. He's a fantastic guy, brilliant asset to the party. So way before any convention or elections, Yemi makes sure a timetable goes out, and he lists out activities that will lead up to any convention or any primaries. This had been out since March. The time set for you to buy forms, the time for within which to return the forms, is there on the screen. Sule Lamido has the greatest respect for me. But at this point in time, again, I say to all those who want to destroy the PDP, to refrain. PDP has a soul. The formation of PDP was, and its intent was to save Nigeria from the military. The G34, which Sule Lamido is actually a member of, he knows the soul, he knows the intent, he knows the purpose of the creation of the party. Some of us have suffered immensely from this party. Shaun, you know that this party wrote a statement against me when I criticized Samuel Anyanwu's retention of the secretary position instead of going to focus on his election. And what happened in that Imo election? He held one hand and held one hand here. We can't continue to condone these people and their behavior, Shehu. We cannot sit down.
It appears because
these are badly behaved people.
No, the way things are looking, it looks like one illegality is being used to fight another illegality.
Shehu, the party is supreme. How
does the party go from here?
Shehu, the courts will not overturn a legally constituted NEC that had set the timeline for its convention. Shehu, Samuel Anyanwu signed that notice.
Could you have gone to a convention when you have congresses in states that have not been determined?
Shehu, it has happened. There are 32 states at the convention. Just to correct you. Maybe
17 voted.
Yes. But Shehu, this is not the first time it's happening in PDP. And look at the peculiar nature of this convention. The ruling party has made it its preoccupation to kill the opposition. But PDP is still standing. I really, at this point, no matter what I think or I thought of Governor Seyi Makinde, at this point, I must give him kudos for the bravery. Give kudos to Governor Bala. Give kudos to Iliadamagun, who stood his ground. Do you know, Shehu, I have those pictures. Do you know that the press was primed to announce Iliadamagun as the caretaker chairman? That was the plan. They released those reports. In fact, I got a call from one of our media guys. He said, Tony, what's going on? I'm seeing several news broadcasts of Iliadamagun as the chairman. I said, no, it's not true. Turaki has been, it's there. So you know that there was a preconceived notion to make sure that that primary, you see, the convention has held. And there is no way you can turn it back. Let me tell you, whatever court you go to, the court will ask one question. Did the NEC of the party authorize the convention? Yes, it did. Did the NEC send the requisite notice to INEC? Was it signed by Sandadi? Yes, it was. Was it signed by the chairman? Yes, it was. In fact, before the chairman signed that notice to INEC, that was when a motion was moved in NEC to make him a substantive chairman. So it wasn't even signed by an acting chairman. Shehu, and I want to say this. It is important that, and I appeal to Minister Nyesom Wike, former governor of Rivers State, a time must come when you must remember where you are coming from and not seek to destroy your house. If this is the time for you to proceed to APC, please do so with honor.
All right. Anthony Ehilebo, a member of the People's Democratic Party and a lawyer. Thanks so much indeed.
No problem, Samuel. Thank you for having me. And good luck to the Nigerian Super Eagles, by the way.
Good luck, actually. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Kimbaloe. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.